Chosen ones, prepare yourself before it's too late. You are not here by accident. You were not born to blend in, to move aimlessly through the tide of existence, or to echo the noise of the world around you. Deep within you there has always been a knowing, quiet, persistent, and sacred. You have been chosen, not by society, not by man, but by something far greater, something eternal, something divine. And yet even the chosen must prepare. Even the called must awaken. The time, though it may seem endless, does not wait for hesitation. The clock of your transformation is ticking, and the door that leads to your destiny does not remain open forever. What you see in front of you is not the whole picture. This world is a mirror, reflecting not what you wish, but what you truly believe. If there is chaos around you, it began within you. If you feel delay, it is not life punishing you. It is life waiting for you. Waiting for your inner world to rise to the level of the promise already planted within your spirit. But you must water that seed. You must tend to it with intention, and you must do it now. Because there comes a moment when silence is not stillness, but slumber. And the chosen must not sleep while the storm brews. Your imagination is your compass. Your inner speech is your command. What you rehearse inwardly, you are destined to live outwardly. And if you walk around entertaining images of defeat, betrayal, fear, or limitation, you are not only delaying your ascension, you are denying it. You cannot serve two masters. You cannot say you are chosen while entertaining thoughts that you are cursed. You cannot claim divine purpose while identifying with the identity the world has projected onto you. To be chosen is to walk a narrow road, a path where belief precedes sight, and where the unseen becomes more real than the visible. There is a price for forgetting who you are, a spiritual cost that shows up as emptiness, confusion, stagnation. The chosen ones cannot afford distraction. You cannot afford to keep compromising with a world that has no idea who you really are. You are sent here to create, not conform. You are sent here to manifest, not mimic. And every second you spend trying to fit in is a second stolen from the reality that you are meant to shape with your own thoughts. There is a version of you already living in the fullness of that calling, already walking in peace, already manifesting abundance, already surrounded by the right people in the right place doing the right thing. But that version is not waiting on the stars to align. That version is waiting on your alignment, your readiness, your choice to believe not with your mouth, but with your imagination, not with borrowed hope, but with bold faith. You must stop expecting your outer life to change while your inner language remains the same. You cannot continue rehearsing stories of pain and expect a life of purpose. The chosen ones are not victims of memory, they are authors of meaning. You must begin to rewrite the script of your life from the inside out. You must see yourself as whole, even when others treat you as broken. You must speak to yourself as if you are already there, already transformed, already living what you used to only dream about. The danger is not in being overlooked by others. The real danger is overlooking yourself, ignoring the whisper that says it's time, pushing aside the signs, the nudges, the divine promptings that are trying to awaken you before it's too late. You may not get this moment again. The alignment you feel now may not come again in the same way. Every delay, every betrayal, every hardship was not to destroy you, but to prepare you. But preparation is not passive. You must act, not in haste, but in faith. Not by chasing, but by claiming. This is the time to assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, to dwell in the state of what you desire as if it were already yours, not just once, but continuously. Not just when you're inspired, but especially when you're weary. The chosen ones don't manifest by wishing. They manifest by knowing. They create not from force, but from alignment. An alignment is not a ritual, it is a state of being. You must choose it daily. You must return to it hourly. You must live from it even when everything around you contradicts it. If you wait for the world to give you a sign, you will remain in bondage to its silence. But when you give yourself the sign, when you declare that now is the time, that this is your moment, that you are done sleeping on your power, then the world begins to rearrange itself around your belief. People shift, circumstances move, opportunities appear, not because they were never there, but because you were finally ready to see them. You are not just here to survive, you are here to shift reality, to bend the world through the power of your assumption, to become a living expression of divine truth. But none of this happens if you don't prepare. If you don't silence the noise, discipline your imagination, and step boldly into the unseen with the certainty of a soul who knows they were chosen long before they arrived here. So I ask you, what are you waiting for? The time is not later, the time is now. And you are not just invited, you are called, chosen, sent. But if you do not prepare, you will miss the door disguised as delay. You will miss the opportunity hidden in the opposition. Prepare yourself, not out of fear, but out of reverence, out of honor for the destiny that is not promised to everyone, but reserved for those who dare to believe it's already theirs. You cannot manifest a new life from your old state of being. The chosen must align their inner world with the future they desire. That means embodying peace, abundance, and purpose, even before any evidence shows up. Delay is a sign that you're not yet ready internally. Life doesn't delay what you're truly ready for. If you're experiencing delay, it's a signal to prepare within, to become the version of yourself who can sustain what you're asking for. Faith is assumption lived out daily. Being chosen isn't about waiting for miracles. It's about walking in assumption as if the miracle already happened. When you live each moment from the end result, the world has no choice but to conform. Every experience you're having right now is a mirror, not a punishment, not a reward. A mirror reflecting the sum total of your dominant assumptions. These assumptions, though often subtle and unconscious, are the builders of the world you walk through. You see, the external world is not separate from you. It is not something out there reacting to chance or randomness. It is responding to you. It bends to your assumption. It takes the shape of what you truly believe to be true, not what you hope, not what you say when you're feeling motivated, but what you assume in the silence when no one is watching. If deep down you assume that people will overlook you, life will fulfill that belief. If you assume that success is for others and not for you, it will become your truth. If you assume that you are always rejected, always betrayed, always misunderstood, then that assumption hardens into fact. The chosen ones are not immune to this law. If anything, it is more intense for them because they carry more spiritual weight. Their thoughts echo louder. Their assumptions manifest faster. Their mental images are not casual, they are creative forces in motion. So the first question the chosen one must ask is not what do I want, but what am I assuming? Because what you assume is what you live. The world is not happening to you, it is happening through you. It is following the blueprint you carry in your imagination. The way you see yourself, the way you speak to yourself, the way you silently define who you are and what you deserve. This is the script the world is acting out. And when you realize this, everything changes. You stop blaming people. You stop waiting for circumstances to shift. You stop needing permission from others to rise. Because you understand that you are the projector, not the screen. You are the cause, not the effect. Look closely at the patterns of your life. Look at the relationships that keep repeating themselves. Look at the financial ceilings you can't seem to break. Look at the places where you feel stuck. They are not random. They are manifestations of an internal state. Your relationships, your finances, your health, your opportunities, each one is a faithful servant of the assumptions you hold. And until you change the assumptions, the patterns will stay. You can change your job, your city, your friends, but if the assumptions are the same, the outcome will be the same, only dressed in new clothing. This is the law that governs the lives of the chosen. It is not punishment. It is precision. Life is not responding to your cries, it is responding to your certainty. The more you assume your chosen status, the more the world rearranges itself to confirm that truth. But if you carry unworthiness, fear, or doubt in your core, then the world, by law, must reflect it back to you. This is not cruel, it is merciful, because it means you are not bound by your past, you are only bound by your present state of mind. Shift your assumption, and you shift your world. So many people walk around affirming what they want while assuming the opposite. They say, I'm wealthy, but deep down they feel like a beggar. They say I'm loved, but their inner world is shaped by abandonment. They say I trust God, but they live in fear, and then they wonder why things don't change. It's because the words are hollow if the assumptions are poisoned. You cannot affirm abundance while assuming lack. You cannot attract love while assuming loneliness. You cannot walk as the chosen while assuming you are forgotten. The two are incompatible. The outer world is not listening to your words. It is responding to your vibration, your frequency, your assumption. You have to live from the state you desire, not toward it. That's the key. The moment you live from it, you no longer chase it. And what you no longer chase begins to chase you. It sounds simple, but it's the most profound shift a person can make. To stop saying, one day I will be, and start assuming I already am. This is not fantasy, this is faith. Faith is not blind belief. Faith is the conviction that what you do not yet see is more real than what your eyes can capture. It is knowing that your inner world is more powerful than any external fact. And when you hold to that inner world long enough, the outer world begins to echo it. Not instantly, but inevitably. You are the author of your experience, not in theory, but in truth. And the pen you write with is assumption. Every day, you're writing the story of your life by what you accept as true. And this writing is not optional. Whether you do it consciously or unconsciously, you are always writing. Every time you say, this always happens to me, you are writing. Every time you think, I'm not good enough, you are right. Every time you feel, people always take advantage of me, you are writing. And the universe is publishing it, printing it, acting it out in the theater of your life. But you can change the script. You can assume something new. You can dare to believe that your destiny is not defined by your trauma, your mistakes, or your lineage, but by your divine calling. You can assume that favor surrounds you, that the right people are drawn to you, that the things that once eluded you are now magnetized to your presence. And if you assume it long enough, the world will have to obey, because it is law. And law does not bend to emotion, it bends to alignment. You are chosen. But even chosen ones must align. Even those called by destiny must prepare their inner world, because the treasure meant for you cannot enter a state of disbelief. It cannot land in soil filled with thorns of doubt. You have to become a match to the blessing. And you become a match not by effort, but by assumption, by knowing right now that everything you need is already yours in the unseen, by dwelling in that awareness, not occasionally, but continuously. The ones who change their lives are not the ones who try the hardest. They are the ones who assume the deepest. They are the ones who persist in the unseen long before anything shows up. They are the ones who wake up each day and choose to believe in what the world calls foolish, they are the ones who close their eyes and see what no one else can see. And they are the ones who open their eyes to find that the world has finally caught up. Imagination is not a luxury of the dreamer, it is the tool of the creator. It is not merely a pastime of the mind, it is the very foundation upon which your life is built. Everything that exists around you began in the unseen, in thought, in vision, in a flicker of inner awareness before it took form. And yet so many live as though imagination is a childish thing, as if it is to be outgrown or suppressed. But the truth is, nothing of substance can be created without it. For those who are chosen, imagination is not optional. It is the source of their power, the evidence of their calling, and the channel through which divine design is carried into the physical realm. When you close your eyes and see a different world, one that defies your present reality, you are not daydreaming, you are beginning. You are entering the only place where real change can occur. The scene is already finished. It is the past crystallized into form. If you want to change your life, you must step away from the illusion of what is and enter the truth of what can be. The world may call it fantasy, but the chosen ones know better. They understand that the invisible is more powerful than the visible, that the future is not waiting somewhere far away. It's forming right now in the womb of your imagination. Every time you visualize yourself healed, free, abundant, restored, you are not escaping reality, you are shaping it. You are laying down a new track for your life to run on. You are rewriting the script, rearranging the set, recasting the roles. But it requires more than a fleeting moment of positive thinking. It requires immersion. You must feel it so deeply that the imagined becomes more convincing than the current. You must live from the image as if it were already so, because in truth it is. The moment you see it in the inner world, it already exists. It only awaits your full embodiment to break into the outer world. Most people use imagination passively, allowing their minds to be shaped by fear, worry, doubt, and trauma. They rehearse the worst outcomes, they replay the pain, they prepare for failure. And the imagination, being a faithful servant, obeys. It multiplies what it is given. But the chosen ones must become masters of their inner world. They must discipline their imagination to dwell only in what they desire, not in that discipline is the true preparation, not in physical effort, not in endless striving, but in inward clarity, to hold the vision when everything around you contradicts it. That is the sign of the awakened soul. You must dare to believe that what you see within is more real than what you see without, that your imagined success is not a lie but a seed, that your vision of peace, even while chaos swirls around you, is not delusion but prophecy. The world does not change when the external circumstances shift, it changes when the imagination becomes dominant. When you no longer ask, how will it happen, but declare, it already has. That is the secret. Not to look for proof, but to be the proof. Not to react to the visible, but to radiate from the invisible. Because when the inner picture becomes your home, the outer world must bend to accommodate it. This is not about pretending. It is about dwelling. It is not about wishing. It is about knowing. The chosen ones don't visualize their desires out of desperation. They do so out of alignment. They understand that the image is the blueprint, the pattern, from which the form will emerge. And they return to that image again and again, not because they are unsure, but because they are aligning deeper and deeper with its reality. They feel it, they hear its sounds, they move in it as though it were the only truth. And in doing so, they call forth the thing that is already theirs, in the unseen. Imagination is not just a tool, it is a place, a state, a dimension where you can go at any moment, no matter your surroundings. The prison cell cannot keep you out. The hospital bed cannot block the way. The debt, the heartbreak, the confusion, None of it can deny you access. You can always enter. And once inside, you can always choose. You can choose to see yourself whole. You can choose to see yourself free. You can choose to see the door opening, the person calling, the account filled, the body healed, the storm ending, and when you do, something begins to shift. Not in the outer world first, but in you. And that shift is the beginning of the miracle. You must stop asking permission to imagine your highest life. Stop waiting for someone to validate your dream. The very fact that you can see it is your confirmation. You don't need credentials to claim what God has already placed in your spirit. The vision is the invitation, the feeling is the proof, the image is the access point. And your job is not to figure it out, but to live from it. To return to it so consistently that the line between the imagined and the real disappears entirely. That is where manifestation begins. Not in labor, but in vision. Not in movement, but in stillness. Not in panic, but in presence. The world you long for is already finished in spirit, but you must become pregnant with that image. Carry it, nurture it, speak to it, refuse to let it die, no matter how barren the outer land may look. Because what you see around you is only a reflection of past thoughts, but what you see within you, that is the future. And it can come quickly, suddenly, unexpectedly. Once your inner world becomes more stable than your outer one. So do not be distracted by what is. Be devoted to what can be. Let the imagination become your dwelling place. Let it be your secret sanctuary. When the world says no, go there. When fear whispers, return there. When doubt knocks, hide there. And from that place declare that what you desire is already yours. Not someday, not if it all works out, but now. Because imagination is not a wish, it is a weapon, a holy fire, a divine design system through which the invisible becomes visible and the impossible becomes normal. This is the gift the chosen ones carry. This is the path they walk, not by force, not by striving, but by vision, clear, persistent, and fearless. They are not waiting for the world to change. They are changing the world by what they dare to see in the silence. And when that vision becomes more than a picture, when it becomes a place you live from, speak from, rise from, the world will bow. It will adjust. It will transform. Not because it decided to bless you, but because you finally decided to imagine without limits. You cannot manifest a new life from the old version of yourself. You cannot walk into a future of abundance while remaining emotionally anchored in lack. You cannot step into love while living in fear. The chosen ones must understand this truth. Alignment always comes before manifestation. The life you're praying for, the vision you carry in your heart, the promises whispered in your spirit, these things are not withheld from you. They are waiting for you to align. They are waiting for you to become the person who belongs in that reality. Because every state of being has a frequency. And if you are not in harmony with it, you cannot enter it. Not because it is locked away, but because you cannot recognize it from where you stand. There are people right now who are standing at the edge of their breakthrough, yet still bound by an old state of mind. They think the answer is more effort, more strategy, more control. But the real work is inward. It's the transformation of identity. You must stop trying to receive a blessing while still believing you are the person who has no business receiving it. You cannot ask for elevation while nurturing beliefs of unworthiness. Life cannot contradict your dominant inner state. It doesn't matter how desperately you want something. If you are not aligned with it inwardly, it cannot become your reality. The truth is, the world does not give you what you want. It gives you what you are. And what you are is determined not by your appearance, your words, or your reputation, but by your state of consciousness. Who are you being when no one is watching? What energy do you carry into every moment? Are you constantly seeking proof that you're not enough? Or are you walking with the quiet confidence of someone who knows they are chosen, who knows their time is not only coming, but is already here? To align with what you desire means to shift into the emotional, mental, and spiritual posture that reflects that desire already fulfilled. It means no longer hoping, but knowing, no longer reaching, but resting, no longer trying to impress, but simply expressing the fullness of your divine identity. It is about becoming the match. And to become the match, you must first release the version of yourself that is addicted to, the one who is attached to being the underdog, the one who constantly tells stories of betrayal and lack. Those stories may be true, but they are not the truth. They are fragments of your past, and they have no place in the world you're being called into. There is a version of you that already lives in complete alignment. That version does not beg. That version does not compare. That version does not shrink in the face of fear or hesitate when opportunity appears. That version already exists, and it is waiting for you to remember it. It is waiting for you to shed the emotional weight of disappointment, to let go of the self-image formed by trauma, and to rise into the identity that knows no limitation. This is not pretending, this is returning. Returning to who you were before the world told you who to be. Alignment is not a concept, it's a state, a felt experience. You know when you're in it. You feel ease, you feel clarity, you feel peace even before the evidence appears. And that peace is not an accident. It is the signal that you have entered the state where manifestation becomes natural. You do not need to force the door open when you are aligned with the room inside. It opens on its own. But when you are not aligned, life becomes a struggle. Opportunities slip through your fingers. The things you chase move further away. Not because you're cursed, but because you're out of sync. To realign, you must return to the center of your being. You must ask yourself, what am I holding on to that doesn't belong to the future I desire? Is it resentment? Is it fear? Is it guilt? Is it the belief that you must always work twice as hard just to be seen? The chosen ones cannot afford to carry emotional baggage into sacred territory. You must travel light. You must leave behind the old story so the new chapter can begin. Alignment is a choice, not a feeling, not a lucky break, a choice. And it's a choice you must make again and again until your entire being settles into it. Many people ask why their prayers seem unanswered, why their dreams remain distant, why the vision never comes to life. The reason is simple: they are out of alignment. They speak of faith but live in fear. They declare abundance but embody scarcity. They talk of destiny while doubting every step. The universe does not respond to your words, it responds to your state. The moment your state shifts, your life must shift. It is law, it is not personal, it is not emotional. It is simply how this reality works. And once you understand that, you stop wasting time fighting the world and you start refining yourself. This is the work of the chosen ones. The hidden work, the quiet work, the work done in thought, in emotion, in imagination. It may not be visible to others, but it is the most powerful work you will ever do. Because when your inner world becomes aligned with your desire, the outer world cannot resist it. It must comply. It must obey. It must reflect. And that is when things start moving fast. Not because you finally got lucky, but because you finally got aligned. Alignment is not perfection, it is resonance. It is authenticity. It is the place where you stop chasing and start attracting, where you stop striving and start allowing, where you stop doubting and start knowing. The chosen are not perfect. They are aligned. They do not wait for conditions to change. They become the change. They carry the energy of the future they believe in. And by doing so, they collapse time. They walk into rooms already prepared for them. They step into blessings that seemed impossible. Not because they forced anything, but because they became a living match for what was already theirs. This is your invitation. Not to try harder, but to tune deeper. Not to hustle more, but to align more fully. Everything you desire already exists in a state of readiness. But the question is, do you? Are you emotionally available for the miracle you keep praying for? Are you mentally ready for the success you keep imagining? Are you spiritually prepared for the doors you want opened? Because when you are, life will no longer delay. Life is never waiting on the blessing, it's always waiting on your alignment. And the moment you enter the state where it already is, it will be. There is a misunderstanding many carry, the belief that delay means denial. That when something doesn't arrive on their schedule, it must be a sign they're forgotten, ignored, or not worthy. But delay is not rejection. It is a mirror. It is an invitation to look within. It is life gently and sometimes painfully signaling that something inside is not yet ready to hold what you're asking for. The delay is never about the thing you want. It is about the version of you who will receive it. And if that version has not yet emerged, life will wait, not to punish you, but to protect the very thing you long to receive. You may cry out, plead, fast, speak affirmations, but if deep inside you still carry fear, doubt, or resistance, life will respond to that vibration. Because this world does not operate on desperation, it responds only to alignment. You may want the door to open, but if stepping through that door would destroy you, delay is mercy. If receiving the blessing without the capacity to sustain it would break you, delay is grace. You must begin to see every delay not as abandonment, but as divine instruction. Life is showing you the gap between who you are now and who you must become. Look closely at your delays. They are not random. They are the symptoms of an inner disconnect. Perhaps you're asking for abundance but still identify with struggle. Perhaps you want love but harbor self-loathing. Perhaps you pray for peace but carry chaos within. These contradictions form a spiritual block, not from the outside world but from your own energy. What you want cannot come until your state of being is a match for it. And if it hasn't come, that means there is still something inside asking to be healed, restructured, or released. The chosen ones are not immune to this principle. In fact, it applies to them more strictly, because what they carry is sacred, and sacred things cannot be placed into unready hands. You are not delayed because you're less than. You are delayed because your calling is more than. You are not being punished, you are being prepared. The vision that has been placed in your heart is not a tease. It is a prophecy. But prophecy demands preparation. The soil must be broken before the seed takes root. The seed must die before it becomes a tree, and you too must be transformed before the promise arrives. So what is delay teaching you? It's teaching you to examine your inner world, to become aware of the thoughts you think in secret, the beliefs you never speak aloud, the feelings you bury deep. It's asking you, do you truly believe you are enough? Do you truly see yourself as worthy of the life you say you want? Are you ready to carry that success, that visibility, that influence, without falling back into fear or self-sabotage? Delay exposes these blind spots, not to shame you, but to free you. Because once you address them, your frequency changes. And once your frequency changes, the world must respond. You must stop treating delay as a curse. You must stop growing bitter in the waiting, because what you call delay, the divine calls development. The longer the preparation, the greater the impact. Some things take time because they are meant to last, because they are meant to shake generations, because they are not just for you, but for those who will be touched by the life you live. And if the foundation isn't strong, the blessing will collapse under its own weight. So the question becomes, not how long must I wait, but what within me must evolve. That is the real work. This is why some people repeat the same cycles for years. Because while they wait, they never change. They keep asking for more, while thinking the same, reacting the same, believing the same. And so life keeps circling them back to the same lesson, not because life is cruel, but because life is just. It will never elevate you to a level your inner world cannot sustain. You may be tired, you may feel overlooked, but if you're still in the waiting, it means something in you still requires alignment. And once that alignment clicks into place, things can move swiftly, effortlessly, even miraculously. Delay is also the great revealer of truth. It shows you what you really believe. When the answer doesn't come right away, when the vision doesn't manifest instantly, do you hold to your faith or do you fall back into fear? Do you stand in your knowing or collapse into doubt? Do you believe the promise more than you believe your circumstances? These are the tests of delay. And the chosen must pass them, because their journey is not about mere success. It is about transformation. You are not just being shaped to receive the blessing, you are being shaped to embody it, to reflect it, to live in such alignment with it that it becomes your natural state. Some of your delays have been sent to protect you from your own unhealed parts. If the love had come while you were still insecure, it would have crushed you. If the success had come while you were still attached to the opinions of others, it would have destroyed your peace. If the platform had come while you were still seeking validation, it would have consumed you. Delay is not always opposition. Sometimes it is divine compassion. Sometimes it is a pause sent to make you whole before you're placed on display. The work of preparation is not glamorous. It happens in silence, in solitude, in sacred places where no one applauds. It is the inner wrestling, the discipline of thought, the rewiring of identity. It is the slow process of becoming a vessel worthy of what you've seen in your imagination. And most people give up during this time. They think the delay means not for me. But those who understand the laws of the unseen know better. They know that the waiting is not empty, it is full of instruction, full of growth, full of the quiet, invisible rearrangement of everything that no longer serves the next level. You are not forgotten, you are not being punished, you are being formed. And every day you choose to believe, despite the delay, you are moving closer. Every time you imagine instead of complain, align instead of beg, prepare instead of panic, you are collapsing time. The manifestation is not far away. It is simply waiting on you to meet it in spirit. And once you do, it arrives not with chaos, but with clarity. Not with struggle, but with ease. Because it is no longer being forced. It is being allowed. The delay was never a barrier. It was a mirror. And once you understand what it's showing you, the breakthrough becomes inevitable. Faith is not loud. It does not scream. It does not beg. It is quiet, steady, unshakable. Faith is not about saying the right words or reciting spiritual phrases. It is about how you live when no one is watching. It is about the assumptions you carry beneath your skin, the images you rehearse in your mind, the inner tone you speak to yourself with day after day. And more than anything, faith is assumption lived out, continuously, consistently, regardless of what the outside world tries to show you. It is the quiet conviction that what you cannot see is more real than what you can. It is the invisible root of every visible miracle. Most people mistake faith for hope. They think that wanting something very deeply is the same as having faith for it. But hope says, maybe it will happen, while faith says it already has. Hope looks toward the future, but faith lives from the future. It carries the emotional reality of the desired thing as if it were already present. It moves, speaks, breathes from that reality. It doesn't need confirmation because it is the confirmation. It doesn't seek signs because it is the sign. And when life seems to contradict it, true faith only deepens. Because it was never based on evidence, it was based on inner knowing. To walk in faith is to walk in the end result. To wake up in the morning not asking, will it happen today, but declaring it has already happened, and I am living in its unfolding. This is not delusion, it is alignment. It is the chosen one's sacred posture. Because life does not bend to your fear, it bends to your assumption. And if your assumption is that you are already in possession of what you asked for, then everything in your world will slowly but certainly shift to mirror that truth. This is not just spiritual principle, it is universal law. The world reflects your dominant state, always. But assumption is not something you do once. It is a state you live in. It is not a 5-minute meditation or a one-time visualization. It is a continuous immersion in the energy of fulfillment. It is returning to the vision when doubt creeps in. It is holding on to the inner image with the intensity of someone who refuses to be moved by appearances. You don't assume something once and then walk away. You dwell in it, you breathe it in, you let it shape your thoughts, influence your decisions, direct your emotions, and over time the assumption hardens into fact. That's why faith without feeling is incomplete. You cannot mentally recite affirmations while emotionally rehearsing fear. You cannot say I'm blessed while feeling anxious about lack. The heart and the mind must agree. The inner world must be saturated with the experience you wish to manifest. Not later, not when the signs begin to show, but now, before anything has shifted. Because that's when it counts, that's when it's tested. And that's when the roots grow deep enough to birth something real. Faith is not about pretending. It's about stepping into a new identity and refusing to come out of it, no matter what storms try to shake you. The world you see is nothing but a reflection of the consciousness you hold. Wealth is not something you chase. It is something you become. And when you align with a state of riches, the signs begin to appear, whispering to you that abundance is near. They are not coincidences. They are the manifestation of your assumption hardening into fact. You no longer react to lack. Where once you may have felt frustration at a bill or concern over expenses, now there is a calm knowing within you. You observe the world with a quiet confidence, unshaken by temporary conditions. This is the first sign, the detachment from appearances. You understand that what you see is merely an old reflection of past thoughts. Your inner reality has shifted, and soon the world must catch up. You find yourself naturally drawn to thoughts of wealth, not with longing, but with familiarity. Prosperity no longer feels like a distant dream. It feels normal, inevitable. You think of financial abundance as if it were already yours, because in your imagination it is. Your mind dwells in opulence, and the feeling of being rich becomes a part of your identity. This is the second sign, the effortless embodiment of wealth. Opportunities present themselves in ways you never expected. A conversation, a chance encounter, an idea that seems to come from nowhere. Suddenly the path appears before you. Doors open without force, because you are no longer seeking, you are simply allowing. This is the third sign, synchronicities, an effortless flow. You are now in harmony with the abundance that was always yours. Your circle begins to change. People who once doubted you fade into the background, and those who speak of expansion and success begin to appear. The energy around you shifts, aligning you with those who reflect your new state of mind. This is the fourth sign, the reshaping of your environment. The world outside is always an echo of the world within. You feel gratitude before the evidence arrives. There is no more waiting, no more questioning. You wake up with the quiet certainty that wealth is already yours, and that certainty shapes your every step. This is the fifth sign, the unwavering faith in what is unseen. The moment you feel it real, you have claimed it, and what you claim within must be expressed without. The way you react to your current financial situation reveals the state of consciousness you hold. Most people live in a state of reaction. They see lack, they feel frustrated, they focus on what is missing. But when you are on the path to wealth, something shifts. You stop reacting. You no longer allow external circumstances to dictate your inner world. Instead, you remain calm, knowing that what you see today is simply the outpicturing of past beliefs. Detachment from lack is not indifference. It is mastery. It is the realization that money, like everything else in life, is a manifestation of consciousness. If you dwell in the state of struggle, the world will reflect struggle back to you. But if you dwell in the state of wealth, regardless of what your bank account says today, the world must conform to your assumption. This is the law. This shift in awareness often happens subtly. You may notice that situations that once made you feel anxious, an unexpected bill, a temporary financial setback, no longer trigger fear. You acknowledge them, but you do not dwell on them. There is a quiet certainty within you that everything is working out in your favor, even if you cannot yet see how. This is a profound change because it signals that your inner state has already moved. The moment you stop reacting to lack, you are no longer in harmony with it. Many people believe they must fix their financial problems before they can feel abundant. But the truth is the opposite. You must feel abundant before wealth can appear. The moment you detach from the illusion of scarcity, you shift into the reality of prosperity. This is why some people seem to attract money effortlessly while others struggle for years. The ones who attract it have made peace with it. Though they do not chase wealth, they assume it. They do not fear losing money because they know they are the source of it. This detachment also changes the way you speak and think about money. You stop using phrases like, "I can't afford that," or "money is hard to come by." Instead, you replace them with thoughts that reflect a state of trust. Money flows easily to me. I always have more than enough. Everything I need comes to me at the perfect time. These statements are not just affirmations, they are declarations of your new reality. And as you persist in them, they become your experience. Another sign that you are detaching from lack is that you stop comparing yourself to others. You no longer feel envy or resentment toward those who have wealth because you recognize that their success is proof of what is possible for you. Instead of feeling separate from prosperity, you feel connected to it. You admire abundance wherever you see it, knowing that what you appreciate, you attract. Detachment does not mean avoiding financial responsibility. It means handling money with confidence rather than fear. You pay bills with gratitude, knowing that money is always circulating back to you. You invest in yourself without hesitation, understanding that wealth responds to expansion, not contraction. You trust that whatever you give, you receive in greater measure. This inner shift is what makes wealth inevitable. It is not about trying harder, working longer hours, or chasing opportunities. It is about becoming the version of yourself who is already rich. When you no longer react to lack, you have stepped into a new state of being, and the outer world must follow. Wealth is not something you chase, it is something you become. The moment you shift your identity, money can no longer remain separate from you. When you embody the state of wealth, you no longer hope to be rich one day, you feel it as your present reality. This transformation happens internally first, and the external world eventually catches up. At first, this shift may seem subtle. You begin to notice that money no longer feels distant or unattainable. You stop thinking of wealth as something out there and start to feel it as natural, as if it has always been yours. This is the first sign that you are aligning with riches. You are no longer longing for abundance, you are assuming it. People who struggle with money often place it on a pedestal, treating it as something special, something difficult to attain. They see it as separate from themselves. But those who embody wealth see money as an extension of their state of being. They do not worship it, nor do they worry about losing it, because they know they are the source. Think of how you feel about air. You do not worry about whether there will be enough air for you to breathe tomorrow. You assume its presence without a second thought. This is how the wealthy feel about money. It is simply there, always available, always flowing. This effortless assumption is what draws financial abundance into their lives. Embodying wealth means carrying yourself with the quiet confidence of someone who knows they are rich, even before the evidence appears. You do not need to flaunt it. You simply exist in the knowing. Your thoughts, emotions, and actions naturally align with prosperity. One of the clearest signs that you are stepping into this embodiment is the way you speak and think about money. Your language shifts from lack to abundance. You no longer say, "I can't afford this," but rather, "How can I make this possible?" You no longer dwell on financial struggles. Instead, you focus on opportunities. You recognize that your words shape your reality, so you choose them wisely. Your emotions also transform. When you imagine wealth, you no longer feel a sense of longing, but a deep inner gratitude. You do not fantasize about money with desperation. You feel as if you already have it. This shift is crucial because your subconscious mind does not distinguish between what is real and what is imagined. If you consistently feel wealthy, your subconscious accepts it as truth and begins shaping your reality accordingly. Your habits begin to reflect your new identity. You start making financial decisions as a wealthy person would. This does not mean reckless spending. It means valuing yourself and your resources. You invest in your growth. You seek knowledge. You carry yourself with dignity. You understand that wealth is not just about money. It is a state of being, a way of thinking and living. Another powerful sign of embodiment is how you react to setbacks. Before, an unexpected expense might have triggered panic. Now, you handle it with calm assurance, knowing that money flows in and out effortlessly. You trust that any money spent will return multiplied. This faith is what allows abundance to flow freely to you. Opportunities begin to appear effortlessly because your subconscious is now attuned to wealth. Where others see obstacles, you see potential. Your mind is alert to possibilities that once seemed invisible. This is not luck. It is alignment. The world is simply responding to the state you have assumed. Embodying wealth also changes the way people perceive you. You start attracting those who reflect your new mindset. Conversations shift from complaints about money to discussions of expansion and prosperity. Your presence exudes success, and others can feel it. This energy draws more abundance into your life, creating a cycle of prosperity. This transformation is not about forcing yourself to believe in wealth. It is about relaxing into it. It is about accepting that prosperity is your natural state. The moment you stop trying to be rich and simply feel it is real, you cross the threshold. The external world has no choice but to conform to your inner state. When wealth is on its way to you, the universe begins to arrange the pieces of your life in ways you could never have planned. This is one of the clearest signs that you are stepping into financial abundance. You start noticing synchronicities, unexpected opportunities, and seemingly random events that all point toward prosperity. What once seemed impossible begins to unfold effortlessly, as if life itself is conspiring in your favor. At first, these signs may appear small. You might receive an unexpected refund, a gift, or a new client out of nowhere. You might overhear a conversation that leads you to an opportunity. You may even find money in places you weren't looking. While these moments might seem like coincidences, they are actually reflections of your shifting state of consciousness. They are indicators that you are aligning with the flow of abundance. Synchronicities begin to appear more frequently when you have mentally and emotionally aligned with wealth. This is because your subconscious mind, once programmed for limitation, is now tuned to opportunities. Where before you may have ignored or dismissed possibilities, now you recognize them instantly. You are seeing the same world, but through the eyes of someone who expects prosperity rather than scarcity. One of the most remarkable things about this shift is that opportunities often arrive in ways you never expected. You may have believed that your wealth would come through one particular path, a job promotion, a business deal, but instead it arrives from a completely different direction. This is the power of detachment. When you are not fixated on how money should come, you allow it to arrive in the most effortless way possible. This is why many people, when they stop worrying about money, suddenly experience financial breakthroughs. It is not that money wasn't available before. It was always there, but worry and doubt block its flow. The moment you relax into trust, you become open to receiving wealth in ways you never imagined. Another clear sign that you are aligning with wealth is the people who enter your life. You begin to attract individuals who match your new state of abundance. You may find yourself surrounded by successful, driven, and positive-minded people. Conversations shift from complaints about money to discussions about opportunities, investments, and expansion. This is no accident. Your energy is drawing in people who reflect your new mindset. Just as new people enter, old connections may fade away. Some relationships may no longer resonate with you. People who once encouraged a mindset of lack and limitation may naturally drift from your life. This is part of the transformation. You cannot step into wealth while remaining surrounded by those who reinforce scarcity. One of the most powerful shifts happens when you start recognizing hidden opportunities and challenges. A setback that once would have frustrated you now appears as a stepping stone. You begin to see financial obstacles as temporary illusions, knowing that every problem carries the seed of a greater solution. This perspective is what separates those who struggle from those who thrive. Wealthy individuals see setbacks as setups for success. You may also notice that you feel a strong pull toward new ideas and ventures. Inspiration comes effortlessly, and you feel a natural excitement about pursuing opportunities that once felt out of reach. This is not a coincidence. Your subconscious mind is now guiding you toward paths of wealth. The ideas that excite you the most are often the keys to your prosperity. Synchronicities, unexpected wealth, and new opportunities are all confirmations that you are stepping into the state of abundance. But the most important thing is how you respond to them. Do you embrace them with trust, or do you question and doubt them? The more you trust the unfolding of events, the faster your external reality will reshape itself. When you see these signs, take them as evidence that wealth is already yours. Do not dismiss them as luck or coincidence. Recognize them as reflections of your new state of consciousness. Keep assuming wealth, keep embodying prosperity, and watch as life continues to reveal opportunities that lead you directly to the riches you were always meant to have. When you are about to become rich, one of the most undeniable signs is the transformation of your self-position. You no longer see yourself as someone who struggles with money or as someone who is waiting for wealth to appear. Instead, you begin to identify as a wealthy person before the physical evidence arrives. This shift in identity is the foundation of lasting prosperity, because the world outside of you can only reflect what you believe to be true about yourself. At first, this change happens subtly. You start to think differently about money, success, and your own value. The doubts and insecurities that once held you back begin to fade. You no longer feel unworthy of abundance. Instead, you expect it. You begin to carry yourself with quiet confidence, not because of what you have in the bank, but because of who you know yourself to be. People often believe that they will feel rich after they receive money, but this is not how reality works. It is the feeling of wealth that comes first and the money follows. This is why so many people who suddenly acquire wealth, whether through inheritance, a lottery win, or a business breakthrough, often lose it just as quickly. Their self-image was never aligned with wealth, so their subconscious mind found ways to return them to a familiar state of lack. The shift in self-picture happens in many ways. One of the first things you may notice is that your language changes. You stop speaking from a place of limitation. You no longer say, "I can't afford this," or "I hope I get lucky." Instead, you say, "Money flows to me, I always find a way," or "Wealth is a natural part of my life." Your words begin to reflect your new inner reality, and because words carry energy, they shape the reality that follows. Your emotional relationship with money also transforms. Where you once may have felt anxiety around finances, you now feel a deep sense of peace. You are no longer desperate for money because you know it is already on its way to you. You no longer chase wealth with fear, you attract it with certainty. This emotional shift is crucial because your subconscious mind responds to feelings more than words. If you feel rich, your subconscious will work tirelessly to create conditions that match that feeling. As your self-image evolves, your habits and decisions begin to align with wealth. You start making choices from a place of abundance rather than scarcity. You no longer buy cheap things out of fear that you won't have enough. Instead, you invest in quality, knowing that you're always provided for. You stop seeing money as something to hoard and begin seeing it as something that flows in and out naturally. It does not mean reckless spending. It means trusting that money is a tool meant to be used wisely. You begin to make financial decisions with a long-term perspective. You invest in your growth, whether through education, business, or personal development, because you now see yourself as someone who is always expanding. Another clear sign of this transformation is how you handle setbacks. Before, an unexpected expense or financial challenge may have sent you into panic mode, but now you respond with calm and certainty, knowing that money flows effortlessly to you. You see financial fluctuations as natural, just as the tide moves in and out. You do not fear temporary challenges because you know they are just that. You also begin to notice that the way people treat you changes. Others start to respect you more, not because of what you have, but because of how you carry yourself. You exude confidence, and confidence is magnetic. People are naturally drawn to those who believe in themselves, and as your self-image shifts, you attract individuals who match your new level of success. This transformation even affects your posture, your tone of voice, and the way you move through the world. You walk with purpose, you speak with clarity. You no longer seek approval or validation because you know who you are. This shift is powerful because the world responds not to what you say you want, but to who you are. The most powerful sign that your self-perceive has changed is that you no longer question whether wealth is coming. You assume it. You live in the end, feeling as though the money is already yours. You think from wealth rather than about it. You no longer wish for financial freedom, you embody it. And as this new identity becomes second nature, the external world must conform. The opportunities, the connections, the resources, they all begin to appear, not by chance, but by law. This shift in self-image is not something you force. It is something you become. And once you become it, wealth is no longer something you chase, it is something that must find you. A powerful sign that wealth is on its way to you is a deep, unshakable sense of gratitude. But this is not just ordinary gratitude, the kind where you simply acknowledge the good things in your life. This is an all-encompassing state of being where you feel abundant even before external riches appear. It is the kind of gratitude that transforms your entire reality because it aligns you with the frequency of wealth. Most people wait until they receive money before they feel grateful. They say, "I'll be thankful when I get the job, when my business takes off, when I have financial freedom." But those who truly understand the laws of the universe know that gratitude must come first. It is not a reaction to abundance, it is the cause of it. When you embody this deep gratitude, you are sending a clear message to the universe. I already have wealth. I am already provided for. I am already blessed beyond measure. And because the world outside of you is simply a mirror of your internal state, it has no choice but to reflect that reality back to you. At first, this gratitude might begin with small things. You start noticing and appreciating everything that is already in your life. The money you do have, the opportunities that come your way, the roof over your head, the food on your table. You no longer take anything for granted. Instead of focusing on what you lack, you focus on what you already possess. And in doing so, you expand it. Gratitude is one of the most powerful energetic states because it is rooted in certainty. When you are grateful, you are affirming that life is already taking care of you. There is no need to worry, no need to chase, no need to doubt. You are resting in the knowing that abundance is already yours. And this state of trust allows wealth to flow effortlessly into your life. One of the first changes you may notice when you begin living in deep gratitude is how your emotions shift. Anxiety about money starts to fade. You no longer feel desperate because you know that you are always supported. You no longer operate from a place of fear, but from a place of assurance. This shift in emotions affects everything, your decisions, your actions, and even the way people respond to you. When you feel abundant, you radiate abundance. People are naturally drawn to you. Opportunities seem to come out of nowhere. You find yourself in the right place at the right time, meeting the right people, having conversations that open doors. Gratitude also rewires your subconscious mind. The more you focus on abundance, the more your mind starts seeking it out. You begin noticing opportunities that were always there, but that you may have overlooked before. You start having ideas, insights, and inspirations that guide you toward financial success. Another powerful effect of deep gratitude is that it removes resistance. Many people unknowingly block their own wealth by focusing on what they don't have. They think about their debts, their struggles, their lack of opportunities, and in doing so, they create more of the same. But when you shift into gratitude, you stop feeding energy into what is missing. Instead, you amplify what is already good, and as a result, more good flows into your life. Gratitude also transforms the way you handle money. Instead of feeling stressed when you pay a bill, you feel thankful that you have the resources to do so. Instead of feeling lack when you spend, you feel appreciation for what money allows you to experience. This shift is crucial because money responds to the energy you hold around it. When you bless money and treat it with respect, it multiplies. Another remarkable thing about deep gratitude is how it alters your relationship with time. You stop feeling like you have to rush or force things to happen. You understand that everything is unfolding in perfect timing. This patience and trust create a space for wealth to flow naturally, rather than through struggle and effort. One of the clearest signs that you are stepping into financial abundance is when you start feeling grateful for things before they happen. You no longer say, "I will be thankful when I am rich." Instead, you say, "I am so grateful for the wealth that is already on its way to me." This is a powerful shift because it places you in the state of already having what you desire. And when you assume that something is already yours, reality has no choice but to bring it to you. Living in gratitude does not mean ignoring challenges. It means trusting that every experience, even the difficult ones, is leading you toward greater abundance. When setbacks happen, you see them as opportunities to learn, grow, and expand. You no longer dwell on problems, you focus on solutions. This deep sense of gratitude also extends to the people around you. You start to appreciate those who have supported you, those who have challenged you, and even those who have doubted you, because you recognize that every interaction has played a role in shaping your journey. Gratitude makes you magnetic. It creates an energy field that attracts the right people, the right circumstances, and the right resources into your life. When you reach this state, wealth becomes inevitable. You no longer have to chase money. It comes to you effortlessly. You no longer have to prove yourself. You simply embody abundance. And as this gratitude deepens, your external reality continues to shift in ways that confirm what you already know. You are rich. You have always been rich. And now the world is simply catching up to that truth. A powerful sign that wealth is about to enter your life is a deep, unshakable sense of gratitude. But this is not just the surface level gratitude that most people practice, the kind where you say thank you out of habit. This is an all-consuming state of being where you no longer see yourself as lacking anything. It is the kind of gratitude that shifts your reality because it aligns your mind, emotions, and energy with the frequency of wealth. Most people wait for wealth to appear before they feel grateful. They say, I will be thankful when I get the promotion, when my business takes off, when my bank account is full. But those who truly understand the nature of reality know that gratitude must come first. Gratitude is not a reaction to abundance, it is the cause of it. Everything in your world is a reflection of your internal state. If you feel lack, you will see lack. If you feel abundant, abundance will manifest around you. When you embody deep gratitude, you are telling the universe, I already have everything I need. I am already taken care of. I am already wealthy. And because the world outside you is just a mirror of your consciousness, it has no choice but to reflect that truth back to you. At first, this shift begins subtly. You start appreciating things you once overlooked. The roof over your head, the food on your table, the money you do have, no matter how small. You stop taking anything for granted. Instead of worrying about bills, you feel grateful that you have the means to pay them. Instead of longing for more, you appreciate what you already possess. And in doing so, you expand it. Gratitude is a powerful, energetic state because it is rooted in certainty. When you are grateful, you are affirming that life is already taking care of you. There is no fear, no doubt, no sense of struggle. You are operating from a state of having, not wanting. And this is key because wanting something implies that you lack it, while gratitude confirms that it is already yours. One of the first things that happen when you begin living in deep gratitude is a shift in your emotions. Anxiety about money starts to fade. You stop feeling desperate. You stop chasing. You no longer operate from fear, but from trust. And this emotional shift changes everything. It affects the decisions you make, the risks you take, and the way people perceive you. When you embody abundance, you radiate abundance. People can sense it. You carry yourself differently. You speak with confidence. You make bold moves. And as a result, the right people, opportunities, and resources naturally find their way to you. Gratitude also rewires your subconscious mind. The more you focus on abundance, the more your mind starts seeking it out. You begin to notice opportunities that were always there but that your past mindset blinded you to. You start having new ideas, insights, and inspirations that guide you toward financial success. Your mind, once conditioned to see lack, begins to expect prosperity, and what you expect, you receive. Another powerful effect of deep gratitude is that it removes resistance. Many people unknowingly block their own wealth by focusing on what they don't have. They think about their debts, their struggles, their lack of resources, and in doing so they attract more of the same. But when you shift into gratitude, you stop feeding energy into lack. Instead, you amplify what is already good, and as a result, more good flows into your life. Gratitude also changes the way you handle money. Instead of feeling stress when you pay a bill, you feel appreciation. Instead of feeling guilty about spending, you feel thankful for what money allows you to experience. This shift is crucial because money responds to the energy you hold around it. When you bless money and treat it with respect, it multiplies. Another remarkable transformation that happens when you live in deep gratitude is your perception of time. You stop feeling like you have to rush or force things to happen. You trust in divine timing. You understand that everything is unfolding perfectly, and this patience allows wealth to flow naturally, rather than through struggle and effort. One of the clearest signs that you are stepping into financial abundance is when you start feeling grateful for things before they happen. You no longer say, "I will be thankful when I am rich." Instead, you say, "I am so grateful for the wealth that is already on its way to me." This is a powerful shift because it places you in the state of already having what you desire. And when you assume that something is already yours, reality has no choice but to bring it to you. Gratitude also changes the way you handle setbacks. Instead of seeing obstacles as failures, you see them as lessons, guiding you to greater abundance. You no longer dwell on problems, you focus on solutions. You understand that even challenges are part of the process. This deep sense of gratitude extends to the people around you. You start to appreciate those who have helped you, those who have challenged you, and even those who have doubted you, because you recognize that every interaction has played a role in shaping your journey. Gratitude makes you magnetic. It creates an energy field that attracts the right people, the right circumstances, and the right resources into your life. Wealth is not about luck, it is about alignment. And when you are deeply grateful for what you already have, you step into alignment with greater riches. You no longer have to chase money. It comes to you effortlessly. You no longer have to prove yourself. You simply embody abundance. When you reach this state, wealth becomes inevitable. You are no longer waiting for external circumstances to change. You have changed internally, and the external world must follow. This is the secret that few people understand. Most people believe that success will make them grateful, but in reality, gratitude is what makes them successful. Those who master this truth hold the key to limitless wealth. Wealth is not something you chase, it is something you become. The moment you shift your mind, your emotions, and your energy into alignment with abundance, the outer world has no choice but to reflect that reality back to you. The signs are already there. If you recognize them within yourself, the unwavering vision, the newfound discipline, the resilience in the face of obstacles, the deep inner trust, and the unshakable gratitude, then know this. Wealth is not a distant dream, it is already unfolding. The universe does not operate on luck, it responds to certainty. When you step into the consciousness of wealth, wealth steps into you, not because you forced it, but because you embodied it. Now ask yourself, are you still waiting for riches to appear before you believe? Or have you already become the person who receives them? Because the answer to that question determines everything. The mind is the master key to every experience. It shapes reality according to the impressions it holds as truth. Nothing is impossible to the one who understands this law, for the world is but a reflection of the inner state. If you would achieve what seems impossible, you must first train your mind to accept it as already done. Thoughts, persistently held, crystallize into form. The unseen is the womb of creation, and all things are born from the assumption that they already exist. Do not seek signs in the external world, for they are only shadows cast by the convictions of the mind. Change the belief and the world will move to align with it. To train the mind is to discipline imagination. It is to reject every appearance that contradicts your desired reality and to dwell in the feeling of the wish fulfilled. When you close your eyes and immerse yourself in the experience of your desire as if it were already true, you are planting the seed. Do not dig it up with doubt, for it must take root in the unseen before it appears in the seen. The secret lies in feeling. Thought alone is not enough. It must be infused with the emotion of certainty. The moment you feel it real, you have shifted into the reality where it is so. The world, obedient to the mind's direction, must conform. No power exists outside of this law, and nothing can prevent its operation except the interference of doubt. Everything begins with identity. If you see yourself as limited, your world will mirror limitation. But if you assume the state of the one who has already achieved the impossible, nothing will be withheld from you. Live from the state, not toward it. Walk as though the reality you seek is already yours, and it must harden into fact. Let no circumstance shake your conviction. The mind is the only reality, and what is held within it with unwavering faith must express itself in time. The impossible is only the untrained mind's illusion, but to the disciplined dreamer, it is merely the next step in creation. The mind is the architect of reality. Everything that appears in your world is a direct result of the thoughts, beliefs, and assumptions you hold within. It is not circumstances that shape your life, but the way you perceive and interpret those circumstances. The mind is not just a passive observer of reality. It is the creator of reality. The world you see is nothing more than a projection of your inner state, a mirror reflecting the contents of your consciousness. To understand this, consider the way perception works. Two people can experience the same event and interpret it in entirely different ways. One sees failure, the other sees opportunity. One sees loss, the other sees transformation. What makes the difference? The conditioning of the mind. If you believe the world is full of limitations, you will encounter obstacles at every turn. If you believe that the universe is abundant, opportunities will appear effortlessly. Your life is not shaped by what happens to you, but by how you mentally respond to what happens to you. The subconscious mind is the foundation of creation. Whatever is impressed upon it must express itself in the outer world. This is an immutable law, operating with the same certainty as gravity. If you continually feed your subconscious with thoughts of failure, fear, and limitation, it will manifest those conditions in your life. But if you saturate your mind with thoughts of success, confidence, and abundance, your reality will shift to reflect those beliefs. There is no external force governing your destiny, only your own consciousness. Consider the power of belief. History is filled with examples of individuals who defied all odds because they refused to accept limitation. They did not allow their present conditions to define their future. Instead, they held firm to a vision of what they desired, acting as if it were already true. They understood that the mind is the key to transformation. The great inventors, artists, and leaders of the world did not wait for proof before believing in their vision. They believed first, and then reality conformed to their belief. To reshape your world, you must first reshape your mind. This requires a disciplined approach to thought. The untrained mind is reactive, constantly responding to external stimuli, allowing circumstances to dictate emotions and beliefs. But the trained mind directs reality by choosing what to accept as true. You do not have to accept the evidence of the senses if it contradicts your desires. The senses merely show a reflection of past thoughts. They do not determine future outcomes. A shift in perspective can transform even the most difficult situations. Suppose you are struggling with financial difficulties. If you focus on lack, worry about bills, and fear the future, you reinforce the state of poverty. But if you train your mind to see abundance, if you cultivate gratitude for what you have and assume the feeling of wealth, you begin to change the internal conditions that created the external lack. Over time, your reality will adjust to match your new inner state. The same principle applies to health. Many individuals have reversed illnesses by refusing to accept limitation. They did not deny the physical symptoms, but they denied the permanence of the condition. They held on to the belief that they were already healed, that wellness was their natural state, and as their minds accepted this as truth, the body followed. The mind and body are not separate. The body is an expression of the mind's assumptions. When you train your mind to believe in wholeness, the body must align. Relationships are also governed by this principle. If you assume that people are untrustworthy, you will continually attract experiences that confirm this belief. If you believe you are unworthy of love, you will unconsciously create situations that reinforce that feeling. But if you hold the assumption that you are loved, valued, and respected, the world will reflect that back to you. Others respond to the energy you project, and your relationships will transform as you change your inner dialogue. Training the mind requires persistence. The patterns of thought that have shaped your current reality were formed over time, and they will not change overnight. But with deliberate effort, you can rewire your mind to align with the reality you wish to create. Begin by becoming aware of your dominant thoughts. Are they filled with doubt and limitation, or are they focused on possibility and abundance? Whatever you dwell upon in your mind, you bring into form. Visualization is one of the most powerful tools for training the mind. When you close your eyes and imagine your desired reality in vivid detail, your subconscious mind accepts it as real. The more emotion you attach to this vision, the faster it will materialize. If you persist in this inner knowing, external conditions must shift to match it. The world has no choice but to conform to the convictions of your mind. The words you speak also shape your world. Every statement you make reinforces an internal belief. If you constantly say, "I can't afford this," or "I'll never be successful," you are programming your mind to accept lack. But if you shift your words to affirmations of abundance, "I am financially secure," "Opportunities flow to me effortlessly," you recondition your subconscious to expect prosperity. Words are not empty. They carry the power of creation. Faith is essential. There will be moments when external reality contradicts your desires, tempting you to revert to old beliefs. But if you truly understand that the mind is the source of all experience, you will not be swayed by appearances. You will persist in your inner assumption, knowing that reality must eventually conform. Those who achieve the impossible are those who refuse to be discouraged by temporary conditions. They hold on to their vision with unwavering faith, and the world reshapes itself in response. Your mind is the creative force behind everything you experience. It is not separate from the world, it is the world. To change your circumstances, you must change your thoughts. To transform your life, you must train your mind to see only that which you wish to experience. When you master your inner world, the outer world will follow. The mind is the architect of reality. Every experience, every event, and every circumstance that appears in your life is a direct result of the thoughts, beliefs, and assumptions you hold within. It is not the external world that shapes your reality, but your perception of it. The mind is not just a passive observer, it is the creator. Your world is a reflection of your inner state, a mirror reflecting back the beliefs and feelings you consistently hold. To understand this, consider how two people can experience the same event but interpret it entirely differently. One person sees failure, the other sees opportunity. One sees rejection, the other sees redirection. The difference is not in the event itself, but in the perception shaped by their minds. If you believe the world is full of obstacles, you will find them at every turn. If you believe the world is abundant, You will see opportunities unfold before you. Your experience is not determined by what happens to you, but by how you mentally respond to it. The subconscious mind is the foundation of all creation. Whatever is impressed upon it must be expressed in the outer world. This is a law as certain as gravity. If you constantly dwell on thoughts of lack, fear, and limitation, your subconscious will accept them as truth and manifest them in your life. But if you fill your mind with thoughts of abundance, success, and confidence, your reality will shift accordingly. There is no external force shaping your destiny, only your own consciousness. History is full of examples of people who defied all odds simply by refusing to accept limitation. They did not allow present conditions to dictate their future. Instead, they clung to a vision of what they desired and acted as though it were already true. The great inventors, artists, and leaders of the world did not wait for proof before believing in their visions. They believed first, and then reality conformed to their belief. If you wish to change your reality, you must first change your mind. This requires discipline. The untrained mind is reactive, responding to external conditions and allowing circumstances to dictate its emotions. But the trained mind is deliberate, choosing what to accept as true. You do not have to accept the evidence of the senses if it contradicts your desires. The senses only show a reflection of past thoughts. They do not determine the future. Perspective is everything. Suppose you are struggling with financial difficulties. If you focus on lack, worry about money, and fear the future, you reinforce that state of poverty. But if you train your mind to see abundance, if you cultivate gratitude for what you have and assume the feeling of wealth, you begin to change the inner conditions that created the external lack. Over time, your reality must shift to match your new state. The same principle applies to health. Many people have reversed illnesses by refusing to accept limitation. They did not deny their symptoms, but they denied the permanence of their condition. They held on to the belief that they were already healed, that wellness was their natural state. And as their minds accepted this as truth, their bodies followed. The mind and body are not separate. The body is simply a reflection of the mind's assumptions. When you train your mind to believe in wholeness, the body must align. Relationships also follow this law. If you assume people are untrustworthy, you will attract experiences that confirm that belief. If you believe you are unworthy of love, you will unconsciously create situations that reinforce that assumption. But if you hold the belief that you are loved, valued, and respected, the world will mirror that back to you. Others respond to the energy you project, and your relationships will transform as your inner world does. Training the mind takes time and persistence. The thoughts that have shaped your current reality were formed over years, and they will not change overnight. But with conscious effort, you can recondition your mind to align with the reality you wish to create. The first step is awareness. Notice your dominant thoughts. Are they filled with doubt, fear, and limitation? Or are they focused on possibility and abundance? Or whatever you dwell upon in your mind, you bring into form. Visualization is a powerful tool for this transformation. When you close your eyes and vividly imagine your desired reality, your subconscious mind accepts it as real. The more emotion you attach to this vision, the faster it will manifest. If you persist in this inner knowing, external conditions must eventually align. The world cannot help but reflect the convictions of your mind. Words also shape your world. Every statement you make reinforces an internal belief. If you constantly say, "I can't afford this," or "I'll never succeed," you are programming your mind for lack. But if you shift your language to a firm abundance, "I am financially secure," opportunities flow to me effortlessly. You begin to recondition your subconscious to expect prosperity. Words are not empty, they carry the power of creation. Faith is crucial in this process. There will be times when external reality contradicts your desires, tempting you to revert to old patterns of thinking. But if you understand that the mind is the source of all experience, you will not be swayed by appearances. You will persist in your assumption, knowing that reality must conform in time. Those who achieve the impossible are those who refuse to be discouraged by temporary conditions. They hold on to their vision with unwavering faith, and the world reshapes itself in response. Your mind is the creative force behind everything you experience. It is not separate from the world, it is the world. If you wish to change your circumstances, you must first change your thoughts. If you want to transform your life, you must train your mind to focus only on what you wish to experience. When you master your inner world, the outer world will follow. Your reality is a direct reflection of what you consistently assume to be true. Every thought, every feeling, and every mental image you hold in your mind shapes the world around you. The mind is not just an observer of reality, it is the creator of reality. To achieve what seems impossible, you must first master the ability to assume its possibility. You must accept within your consciousness that your desired outcome is not only achievable, but already true in an unseen realm. Every great achievement throughout history was first conceived in the mind. Before the airplane, there was the vision of flight. Before the electric light, there was the belief in its possibility. Before any masterpiece, there was the artist's unwavering assumption that creation was inevitable. The only difference between those who achieve the impossible and those who do not is the ability to hold steadfast to an assumption regardless of what external reality suggests. The senses deceive. They show you only a reflection of past thoughts and beliefs. If you rely solely on what you see, hear, and touch, you will remain trapped in the limitations of the present. But if you train your mind to assume a reality beyond what the senses currently confirm, you set in motion an unseen process that will bring it into existence. The key is to persist in this assumption until it hardens into fact. Most people allow circumstances to dictate their beliefs. If they see struggle, they assume struggle must continue. If they experience failure, they assume success is impossible. But those who achieve greatness do the opposite. They assume success even in the face of failure. They persist in their inner conviction, knowing that the external world must eventually conform. This is not wishful thinking, it is a fundamental law of creation. Consider the power of assumption in everyday life. If you walk into a room believing that you are confident, capable, and respected, you will carry yourself differently. Your posture, tone, and energy will shift, and others will respond accordingly. But if you enter with an assumption of inferiority, your actions will reflect that belief, and the world will mirror it back to you. This principle operates at every level of life, from small interactions to the grandest achievements. The process of assumption is not passive. It requires conscious effort and discipline. You must deliberately choose the thoughts you entertain, refusing to dwell on anything that contradicts your desired state. If you wish to be wealthy, you must assume the feeling of wealth now, not at some distant future point. If you desire health, you must mentally live in the state of wholeness, even before physical evidence appears. Assumption is the seed from which all manifestations grow. Feelings play a crucial role in this process. It is not enough to think a new reality into being, you must feel it as though it were already true. The subconscious mind does not respond to idle thoughts, but to deeply felt emotions. If you wish to assume a new reality, you must immerse yourself in the experience of it. Ask yourself, how would I feel if this were already true? How would I act? What thoughts would dominate my mind? By aligning your emotions with your assumption, you accelerate its realization. Doubt is the greatest obstacle to assumption. The moment you question whether your new reality is possible, you weaken its foundation. This is why many people fail. They allow conflicting thoughts to take root. They affirm abundance but entertain fears of lack. They visualize success but speak words of failure. The mind cannot serve two masters. If you wish to assume a new reality, you must be unwavering in your conviction, refusing to entertain any thought that contradicts your vision. Visualization is one of the most powerful tools for strengthening assumption. When you close your eyes and vividly imagine your desired reality, you impress it upon the subconscious mind. The more real you make the experience, through sight, sound, touch, and emotion, the more firmly your assumption takes hold. The subconscious does not distinguish between what is real and what is vividly imagined. If you persist in your assumption, the subconscious will move heaven and earth to make it your lived experience. There is no need to force external change. Many people exhaust themselves trying to manipulate circumstances, unaware that reality is an inside-out process. True transformation begins within. When you assume a new reality, external conditions naturally shift to reflect your inner state. This is why those who achieve the impossible often seem to do so effortlessly. They do not struggle against the world. They change themselves, and the world follows. Every assumption you hold acts as a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you assume people will treat you poorly, you will unconsciously behave in ways that invite mistreatment. If you assume opportunities are scarce, you will filter out possibilities even when they are right in front of you. But if you assume that you are destined for success, that life is conspiring in your favor, and that all things are working for your good, reality will reshape itself to prove you're right. There is a profound peace that comes from living in assumption. When you truly accept a new reality within, there is no need for anxiety or struggle. You know that the process is set in motion. You trust that everything is unfolding as it should. This faith in assumption is the key to making the impossible possible. The moment you assume it is done, it is done. The external manifestation is simply a matter of time. Children understand this principle instinctively. When they play, they assume roles effortlessly. They become superheroes, explorers, royalty, without questioning whether it is real. Their imagination makes it so. But as we grow, we are conditioned to doubt, to rely only on what we see, to dismiss imagination as fantasy. Yet imagination is the blueprint of reality. What you assume with conviction today becomes the world you live in tomorrow. If you wish to achieve the impossible, start by assuming it is already done. Reject any thought that contradicts your vision. Feel the reality of it within you. Let it shape your actions, your words, your very being. Do not wait for proof. Assume it now, and proof will follow. The world cannot help but conform to the assumptions you persistently hold. Your subconscious mind is the silent architect of your life. It does not argue, it does not reason, and it does not question. It simply accepts whatever it is given and shapes your reality accordingly. The power of the subconscious is immense, yet most people remain unaware of its influence. They allow their minds to be programmed by external circumstances, unaware that they can deliberately shape their inner world to manifest their desires. Every thought you consistently hold, every belief you accept as true, and every emotion you dwell upon is impressed upon your subconscious mind. And once a belief is impressed deeply enough, it becomes an unquestioned reality dictating the circumstances of your life. This is why people seem trapped in repeating cycles, because they carry the same assumptions, the same emotions, and the same internal dialogue that keep them bound to their current conditions. To train your mind and achieve the impossible, you must reprogram your subconscious deliberately. This requires persistence, repetition, and a deep understanding that the subconscious does not distinguish between what is real and what is vividly imagined. The same mechanism that keeps you stuck in limitations can be used to free you. The key is to consistently feed your subconscious with new empowering beliefs and assumptions until they become your dominant reality. One of the most effective ways to reprogram the subconscious is through repetitions. The mind learns through habit. Just as a seed takes time to grow, new beliefs require constant reinforcement before they take root. This is why affirmations, visualizations, and mental rehearsals are so powerful. The more you impress a new idea upon the subconscious, the more it begins to accept it as fact. Eventually, it becomes your natural way of thinking and feeling. Consider how habits form. When you first attempt to learn a new skill, it requires effort. But with repetition, it becomes automatic. Walking, speaking, driving, all were once difficult, but through practice they became second nature. The same principle applies to your mental world. If you have spent years thinking thoughts of limitation, failure, and lack, your subconscious has accepted those beliefs as truth. But if you consistently introduce new thoughts of abundance, success, and possibility, your subconscious will eventually accept them as well. The language of the subconscious is emotion. Mere words do not impress the deeper mind. Feeling does. This is why casual affirmations often fail. If you repeat an affirmation without feeling its reality, your subconscious will reject it. But when you feel the truth of what you are saying, when you engage, persistence is the bridge between imagination and reality. It is the unwavering commitment to your inner vision, regardless of what your external circumstances suggest. The moment you decide to assume a new reality, the world around you may not immediately change. Your senses may still reflect the old conditions, and doubt may whisper that nothing is happening. But this is where most people falter. They allow their external world to dictate their inner conviction. To achieve the impossible, you must persist in your assumption until it hardens into fact. The truth is, reality does not change instantly. Every great transformation follows a period where nothing seems to happen. This is the testing ground where the weak give up and the strong hold firm. When you persist in an assumption, you are reconditioning your subconscious mind, aligning your energy with your vision, and preparing yourself to receive the manifestation. The mistake most people make is that they expect immediate results, and when they do not see them, they abandon their belief. They waver between faith and doubt, and in doing so, they halt the process of creation. Think of the process like planting a seed. When you plant a seed in the ground, you do not expect it to sprout immediately. You water it, you nurture it, and you trust that it will grow even before you see evidence of its existence. If you were to dig up the soil every day to check whether it is growing, you would disrupt the process and kill the seed. The same is true for your desires. Once you have planted the seed of assumption in your subconscious mind, your only task is to persist in the belief that it is already done. Doubt is the greatest enemy of persistence. The moment you entertain thoughts of failure, you weaken the foundation of your new reality. If you believe that something is true, yet constantly question whether it will happen, you are sending conflicting signals to your subconscious mind. Imagine trying to drive a car while pressing both the accelerator and the brake simultaneously. You will go nowhere. The mind works the same way. If you wish to achieve the impossible, you must fully commit to your assumption and refuse to be swayed by temporary appearances. Most people give up too soon. They allow delays to convince them that their desires are not meant to be. But delays are not denials. The universe operates on a perfect timeline, and every assumption will manifest in its own appointed time. The key is to remain steadfast in your belief, even when reality seems unchanged. The outer world is a lagging reflection of your inner world. And just as a boat takes time to turn, your external reality takes time to shift. One of the most powerful ways to strengthen persistence is through mental rehearsal. Every day, immerse yourself in the feeling of your wish fulfilled. See yourself already living in the reality you desire. Hear the sounds, feel the sensations, and embrace the emotions of having what you seek. The more real you make it in your imagination, the stronger your belief becomes. Over time, this assumption will solidify and your outer world will conform to it. Another key to persistence is self-discipline. The mind is easily swayed by circumstances, and if you are not vigilant, you may fall back into old patterns of thinking. This is why it is crucial to guard your thoughts and remain conscious of what you are feeding your mind. Surround yourself with reminders of your new reality. Write down your assumptions. Speak them out loud. Avoid negative influences that reinforce old beliefs. Do whatever it takes to keep your mind aligned with your vision. Many people believe that persistence requires effort and struggle, but this is a misunderstanding. True persistence is not about forcing things to happen. It's about maintaining an unwavering state of belief. There is a profound difference between striving for something and assuming it is already yours. When you persist in assumption, you enter a state of calm assurance. You no longer chase, beg, or worry. You simply know that it is done. Consider the stories of those who have achieved the impossible. Every great innovator, visionary, and pioneer persisted in their belief despite overwhelming opposition. When Thomas Edison was developing the light bulb, he failed thousands of times, yet he persisted because he assumed success was inevitable. When Walt Disney was rejected by financiers who believed his ideas were impractical, he did not waver. He persisted in his vision until the world conformed to it. When countless individuals throughout history were told their dreams were impossible, they refused to accept failure as an option. They held their assumptions until they became reality. Your mind is the ultimate creative force, and persistence is the key that unlocks its full power. When you refuse to accept anything other than your desired reality, when you persist despite doubt, fear, and delay, you send a clear message to the universe. This is my reality and I will not waver. The universe has no choice but to comply. If you look at your life now, every condition you experience is the result of past assumptions that you persisted in, whether consciously or unconsciously. The job you have, the relationships you maintain, the financial situation you find yourself in, all of it is a reflection of what you have believed to be true over time. If you wish to change any aspect of your life, you must persist in a new assumption until it takes root. One of the best ways to strengthen persistence is to detach from the how and when. Many people fail because they obsess over the details of how their desire will manifest. They constantly check for signs. They look for evidence, and they become discouraged when things do not happen on their timeline. But true persistence means surrendering the need to control the process. Assume that it is already done, and trust that reality will rearrange itself in ways you cannot foresee. When you persist in assumption, you will notice shifts, subtle at first, then undeniable. The people around you may change, opportunities may appear, and circumstances may begin to align in ways that seem almost miraculous. But these are not miracles. They are the natural outcome of unwavering belief. The final secret to persistence is gratitude. When you assume something is already done, you naturally feel grateful for it. Gratitude reinforces belief. It is a declaration that you trust the process. If you can give thanks for something before it has physically manifested, you are proving to your subconscious mind that you truly believe it is already yours. This state of gratitude speeds up manifestation and deepens your ability to persist. No matter what appears before you, no matter how long it takes, no matter how many times doubt tries to creep in, persist. Assume that your success is inevitable. Assume that your dreams are already a reality. Assume that all things are working in your favor. Hold on to this assumption, live from it, and refuse to let external circumstances shake your faith. In time, your assumption will harden into fact. The world will reflect back to you what you have steadfastly held in mind. What once seemed impossible will become your lived reality, not through force, but through the quiet power of persistence. Faith is the foundation of all creation. It is the invisible force that turns the unseen into the seen, the intangible into the tangible. Every great achievement, every manifestation, every so-called miracle is the result of faith in action. Without faith, the mind wavers, allowing doubt and fear to take root. But with faith, nothing is impossible. Faith is not merely hoping or wishing. It is knowing. It is the absolute conviction that what you desire already exists, even if your senses tell you otherwise. The challenge most people face is that they live by what they see rather than what they believe. They look at their current reality, and if it does not match their desires, they assume that their dreams are out of reach. But faith demands that you see beyond appearances. It requires that you walk by the certainty of your inner vision, rather than the limitations of the outer world. When you train your mind to accept that what you desire is already yours, reality has no choice but to conform. Consider the nature of faith. It is the evidence of things not seen. It is the ability to stand firm in your assumption, even when there is no physical proof. The world teaches you to believe only in what can be measured, tested, and observed. But those who achieve the impossible operate by a different principle. They see with the mind's eye. They hold firm to an internal reality, and they refuse to let external circumstances dictate what they believe to be true. This is why the power of imagination is so crucial. The subconscious mind does not distinguish between what is real and what is vividly imagined. When you assume something with absolute faith, you impress it upon your subconscious, and it begins to work behind the scenes to bring it into reality. Your faith acts as a blueprint, guiding events, shifting circumstances, and aligning people and opportunities to match your inner conviction. The key to unwavering faith is detachment from the how and when. Many people sabotage their manifestations by constantly looking for evidence, checking for signs, and questioning the process. They become impatient, and in doing so, they signal doubt to their subconscious mind. Faith does not concern itself with details. Faith knows that the outcome is inevitable. When you truly believe something is already yours, you do not chase, beg, or worry. You rest in the assurance that it is done. One of the greatest obstacles to faith is fear. Fear is the enemy of creation. It paralyzes the mind, keeping it bound to limitation. Fear whispers that things will never change, that you are not capable, that failure is certain. But fear is an illusion. It is a projection of the past onto the future. The only way to overcome fear is to replace it with faith. When faith becomes stronger than fear, you become unstoppable. You no longer react to circumstances, you dictate them. Faith is not passive. It is not sitting idly by hoping that something will happen. Faith is an active force. It is the decision to align your thoughts, emotions, and actions with your desired reality. It is the unwavering commitment to your vision regardless of what the outside world reflects. When you truly believe, your entire being aligns with your assumption, and the world reshapes itself accordingly. One of the most powerful ways to strengthen faith is through daily mental discipline. Every day you must remind yourself of your inner vision. You must speak as if your desire is already fulfilled. You must feel the reality of your assumption with such intensity that it becomes more real to you than the physical world. This is not delusion. This is creation. The world you experience is nothing more than a reflection of the beliefs you hold. Change your beliefs, and you change your world. Faith is the key to breaking limitations. The only reason anything seems impossible is because you have accepted the idea that it is. But what if you assumed the opposite? What if you declared that nothing is out of reach? What if you chose to believe with absolute certainty that you already possess everything you desire? This is the mindset that transforms lives. Those who achieve greatness do not entertain doubt. They do not look at circumstances and allow them to dictate their beliefs. They dictate reality by the strength of their faith. Think of the stories of those who have defied the odds. Every great innovator, every pioneer, every visionary held an unshakable belief in their dreams long before they materialized. They did not need proof, validation, or reassurance. They simply knew. And because they knew, reality had no choice but to comply. Faith does not require evidence. It creates evidence. It is the unseen force that moves mountains, shifts timelines, and bends reality to your will. The moment you fully accept something as true, the universe begins to rearrange itself to reflect that truth. The delay between your assumption and its manifestation is only as long as you're wavering. The more steadfast your faith, the faster reality conforms. Another key to strengthening faith is gratitude. Gratitude is the language of certainty. When you give thanks for something before it has appeared in your physical world, you affirm your belief that it is already yours. This is a powerful secret. Most people wait until they see results before they feel grateful. But those who understand the power of faith give thanks in advance. They know that their assumption is reality, and their gratitude accelerates its manifestation. To live by faith is to live in the end. It means acting, thinking, and feeling as if your desire has already come to pass. It means walking through life with confidence, knowing that what you seek is already seeking you. It means refusing to entertain doubt, no matter how strong the illusion of lack may seem. Faith is a muscle. It must be exercised. The more you test it, the stronger it becomes. Begin with small assumptions. Assume something simple and watch as it comes to pass. As your confidence grows, you will realize that there are no limits. What once seemed impossible will become routine. The world will appear malleable, bending to your will, and you will come to understand that reality is not fixed. It is shaped by your convictions. If you wish to train your mind and achieve the impossible, cultivate unshakable faith. Assume the best. Believe in the unseen and refuse to accept anything less than the fulfillment of your vision. Do this, and the world will reflect your certainty.